Hey everyone, how's it going? If we take a quick look at our pre-evolution ranking list, you'll notice there's one type of Pokemon that is suspiciously absent from the top tiers, and that is the fire type. Right now, our top fire type Pokemon, Ponyta, it is the top of the C tier, but consider that Ponyta does have the best base stats of any pre-evolved Pokemon, and it's still in the C tier. And so I was curious whether Vulpix could get around what we could call Gen 1 Fire Pokemon Syndrome. A speed and special of 65 is pretty good for a pre-evolved Pokemon, but where I'm worried a little bit is its move pool. Vulpix doesn't get all that many super useful moves, neither via TM nor level up, so that might be a bit of a problem going forward. But in the immediate present, the biggest problem appears to be, how is Vulpix going to get past Brock? Well, my first thought was just to battle all the bug catchers and then immediately battle him, but it didn't go super well at level 9. Because even though Brock's Pokemon have bad special and Ember does have a chance to burn, by the way, something interesting that you may not know about Gen 1, we could get past Geodude, but then it became a bit difficult to get past the Onix. Unfortunately, since we don't outspeed, we are at the mercy of Bide, and although I tried about 5 or 6 times, I wasn't able to get past Brock. But it's at this point I want to talk about something really interesting that you may not know about Generation 1. See, in Generation 1, the stat reduction from burn or paralysis does not get removed when you remove the status. Meaning, if we burn Geodude and Brock uses a full heal, Geodude's attack is still half. If you rewind and watch this battle, it's very apparent that Geodude was doing way less damage last time because Geodude was burned twice. And although Brock has 5 full heals per Pokemon, that very useful attack drop is permanent. After trying a few times, we see why you can't pick Charmander in an itemless speedrun. Even with Ember, you're just not going to beat Brock without significant grinding, or semi-significant grinding. For the context of a speedrun, significant grinding in Viridian Forest. To see if I was ready to beat Brock, I would battle the Junior Trainer, and finally at level 11, I almost beat him, meaning I don't think I'm quite ready for Brock yet. I finally do get the victory versus the Junior Trainer at level 12, and that tells me, and luckily I have lost just 20 HP, which means 1 potion will put me to max, that I'm probably ready to start trying Brock again. Remember, I was level 9, so this is a significant level up from before, but it's not really doing that much more damage, and the Geodude isn't doing that much less. We unfortunately do not get a burn in this first attempt, and that proves kind of costly, because we still don't outspeed, and that means we're at the mercy of Bide. Every time we use Ember, we're pretty much done. And while we get close, the luck just wasn't in our favor, at least not in this battle. I finally do get the victory a few battles later. The big thing I needed was a burn, and I didn't get it here either. I just got 2 crits. I will get a burn later against Onix, and this is a big deal because when you get a burn against Onix, that means Brock has to use a full heal, meaning Brock's not attacking. Note that in Generation 1, Ember only has a 10% chance to burn, so I got some really crazy good luck. Perhaps I needed to level up 1 more time, and it would have been a bit more consistent, but realistically, I thought at this level if I could just get 1 burn versus Geodude and have its attack doing about 3 damage, I would have been good. But the other thing that was important that we didn't get was we didn't outspeed the Onix. That would have made things a lot easier as well. So perhaps I was 1 level too low, but if you think that's really going to impact the run, I think you're sorely mistaken. Because if you thought Brock was tough, and he was, Misty is a water type, and Rival 2 against pre-evolved tends to be really tough regardless. This might be really tough. But first, I want to talk to you about something that may interest you. Finding a job is hard, and finding a well-paying job is even harder. But back-end web developers are in huge demand. According to Stack Overflow, the median salary for a back-end web developer in the United States was over $100,000. This brings me to today's video sponsor, Boot.dev. On Boot.dev, you will learn back-end web development from start to finish in 2 programming languages, Python and Go. Boot.dev aims to make their courses informative but also engaging, with experience points, levels, achievements, and even quests with a global leaderboard. This is an online, self-paced program and feels like a captivating RPG game. The program is designed to get you writing a ton of code, because the truth of the matter is, the only way you're going to get better at coding is by doing a lot of it. And if you ever get stuck or need some help, there are many tools such as Boots, an AI program that will help you understand the concepts and walk you through the issues you are having, as opposed to just giving you the answer, which is also available if you choose. If web development sounds like something you would be interested in, click the link in the description box or pinned comment and use my code JROSE11 to get 25% off your first payment for Boot.dev. That's 25% off your first month, or even first year, depending on the subscription you choose. Now, this may shock you, but I did choose to battle Rival 2 first. And I did level up a little bit in Mount Moon, such that I do outspeed Pidgeotto, but unfortunately it's a 4-hit KO with Ember. We can knock out the Abra either way, but once we get to Rattata, it isn't enough, and this gives me a bit of an idea. It's really important to distinguish between the fully evolved Pokemon runs and the pre-evolved Pokemon runs. These are supposed to be tough. We're not supposed to first try victory everything. Grinding and leveling up, it's part of the game. So I deposit all my Pokemon and then buy repels now, because, as you may expect, I also was looking to buy some super potions, but those aren't available yet. After spending all of the money I have, I'm now going to battle Rival 2 again and again and again in order to get quick experience points. Now, in cases where we don't get past Pidgeotto or it sand attacks us in the future, I'm just going to reset. But, however, I wanted to know exactly how much leveling I had to do. So once I got to level 21, I used both my rare candies and tried to battle the rival at level 23. Pidgeotto was a 2-shot with a crit. Then against Abra, it's a 2-shot with quick attack. This is just to conserve power points. But then I misclick in a way that's super helpful. You'll see why in a second. For this battle, it sucked. I used Tail Whip. I try to go for Tail Whip again. I lose a bunch of HP. And so I just reset. But I forgot that I didn't save after using the rare candies. So now I'm back down to level 21. Ideally, I don't win with rare candies, and I win just at level 21. And as it turns out, and you can see me pausing there, realizing what's about to happen, I use 2 Tail Whips on Squirtle. It can go for Water Gun, but with 2 Tail Whips plus 3 quick attacks, although the crit didn't matter there, we were able to win at level 21, which saves rare candies for later in the run, and that usually saves time because leveling up at level 60 takes way longer than leveling up against the rival's Pokemon at level 21. Sometimes it makes sense to use rare candies, other times it didn't. This time I'm grateful for the misclick because saving rare candies is probably a good thing. Anyway, nothing much to say about routes 24 and 25, and of course we're gonna skip Misty for a while. So I'm gonna head to the SSN, and almost immediately after beating Rival 2, we have to battle Rival 3. I do like pointing this out when I notice it, but at this point in real time, I had beaten the Mewtwo run. Just keep that in mind for how different it is doing these single form. Anyway, you can see I'm using Ember, but possibly if I used Dig it would have done more damage, but I don't think it would result in a victory. I battled the rival a lot, and unfortunately, I really wasn't able to get past him. Pidgeotto is still a 3-hit KO, Raticate is still a 2-hit KO unless I get a critical hit, and although I can use Dig to almost one-shot Kadabra, it's not quite a one-shot. The biggest problem, however, is Wartortle. After a Tail Whip, it's 2 digs to knock it out, but I simply, even when hit with Bubble, and it's always going to use a water move, I don't have enough HP left. So once again, we're going to have to level up, but unlike with Rival 2, it's a little bit easier to level up. I actually don't level up very much in the SSN, and you'll notice that by the fact I'm not actually sure what trainers are here. It's funny, there's so much of red and blue I know like the back of my hand, but the SSN is one of the few areas I just don't do all that often except for the few rooms I have to do. And so when I have to go and explore the rest of the ship, I'm always a little uncertain where the best places to go are first. But anyway, I leveled up a bit. But I also decided to delete quick attack since I'm plenty fast, and Body Slam is a 2-shot versus Pidgeotto and versus Raticate. Dig now one-shots Kadabra even without the crit, and now Tail Whip even with a water gun since I have more HP. Even with 2 water guns, I'm able to knock out Wartortle. This is a really good example of just being 1 level higher making a huge difference, and so that was what I needed to do. I'm at a pretty high level here, and I probably could beat Lieutenant Surge with Dig. However, since I can't use Cut outside of battle before beating Misty, even though Surge and the trainers in his gym would be good experience points for Misty, I'm gonna have to try and beat her without that. Alrighty, so this is actually my first attempt versus Misty whatsoever. I go for Dig, and it almost one-shots Staryu. X-Defend is good, but Starmie does outspeed me. Dig is gonna be a 3 KO. I try to get a paralysis with Body Slam, but even if that would have happened, I don't know if Dig would have knocked it out there. I may need to level up more. Still, before I do that, I do want to see what would happen if I got the paralysis, and I have healed fully. I get a pretty clutch critical hit, Body Slam paralyzes, and then I go for Confuse Ray. This was kind of big, because that confusion damage, oh, you know what? I didn't need the confusion damage, although it helped. So I easily could beat Misty 3 times with a fire Pokemon. That's pretty good. Still, we don't have a single first try victory against any major trainers yet. I have a feeling that's going to change soon. I mean, consider 2 of the gym leaders we have coming up are Lieutenant Surge, we have Dig, and Erica, we're a fire Pokemon. But before we can even talk about them, we have the famous Hiker with 2 Geodudes and a Graveler. And before you guys use his fire red leaf green name, it's not the same guy. He's not as scary as this guy. If you want to give him a name, let's call him Whitgog. Literally just an acronym for Hiker with 2 Geodude and a Graveler. But yeah, Whitgog is pretty scary. Dig is not going to one-shot even at level 30, but the hope is it self-destructs while I'm digging. It doesn't happen with the first Geodude. In fact, it self-destructs at the worst possible time. The second one goes for Defense Curl, and I can knock it out with Ember. And then the Graveler, it goes for Tackle. Ooh, this is close. Nope, self-destruct. But Whitgog is not going to be that big a deal. I mean, clearly it's not going to be free, but it only took me 1 more failure to defeat Whitgog. Whitgog or Whitgag? But it's 2 A's, so it should be Whitgog. These are the important questions to ask. And truth be told, one of the most difficult things about the run, at least the immediate run, is what to call this guy, because our next 2 gym leaders are going to be pretty easy. We're going to go and battle Lieutenant Surge first. This has been a bit of a theme. When you skip him, you want to use Fly as soon as possible, so beating him first is a must if you can. Now, I really hope I beat Surge on my first try, because I haven't had a first try victory yet, even against Whitgog. Took me 3. So far, that's my PB. And we get a Gen 1 miss with Dig against Pikachu. Fantastic. But we do outspeed Raichu. We do knock it out in 1 shot. And first time, we get a first try victory. Awesome stuff here. Next, we're going to battle Erica. Wait a minute, that's Giovanni 1. What gives Okay, I won't do that. It's so obnoxious when people do that. Obviously, I knew I was going to battle Giovanni next. But the reasoning is pretty simple. In 1 level, Vulpix will get Flamethrower. And that won't just make Erica easier. It'll make her gym really quick, allowing me... Oh my god, first try victory. I wasn't expecting that. But that'll allow me to battle all the trainers in her gym really quickly and gain a ton of useful experience points. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough to get to level 35 before the gym, but after battling just 1 trainer, I got Flamethrower, and now every single trainer's Pokemon in this gym can be knocked out in a single hit. I even used a power point up, so I wouldn't have to go back, and hopefully would have enough power points to even knock out Erica. Now, obviously, Erica's going to be pretty easy, and we did have exactly 3 power points left, so hey, do I know how to count or what? But that is now 3 consecutive major trainers that we got a first try victory. Can we make it 4 with Rival 4? Well, he starts with Pidgeotto. It's a 1-shot. That's good. Growlithe, we have Dig. That's a 1-shot. That's good. We're at level 38 now, so maybe I shouldn't be so impressed by the fact that we're taking out Pokemon almost half our level. Now, Body Slam would have been a 3-shot, and even with Dig, it's going to take 1 more hit. But yeah, we've made it through the first half of the game relatively pain-free. I mean, it's right now looking like a middle-of-the-road run. The question is this going to be one of those runs that now we have flamethrower, things are going to go really, really well, and the run is going to be a breeze? Or are there more roadblocks ahead, because late-game roadblocks can take a really long time to get past? The first late-game roadblock we may have to get past is Koga. Although we have a super effective move and Flamethrower, Flamethrower is a 2-shot, which is pretty good, although I switched to Body Slam. It's going to be a 3-shot versus Muck, and being poisoned isn't great. Also, getting Dig disabled is like the worst thing, because my entire strategy was to dig, and then it would go for self-destruct, and then we wouldn't get... Yeah, this game sucks sometimes. Like, I don't know, 1 in 4 chance, 55% chance to hit. I don't know. It's kind of irritating that just happened, but, you know, is what it is. Anyway, are you kidding me? What? What are the odds of that? What are the odds? I can't, I literally am in, like, what? What? Okay, so after getting Dig disabled twice, and it using self-destruct on the turn I would have been underground, I try a third time. This time I take no damage versus coughing. Maybe Muck won't disable. Oh, look, Sludge. Oh, wow, that did a lot of damage. Okay, but it's fine, because if we use Dig strats, we should be good. Maybe good. We're at 28 HP. Self-destruct, no. Well, almost what we wanted. That was like close to the intended goal. Anyway, one more attempt before... I don't know why I said one more attempt. I'm probably just going to keep plugging away until it happens. I go for Dig against Muck, and you can tell the critical hit, it's still going to be a 3-shot, whether it's Dig or Flamethrower, and Flamethrower is a bit faster. And so against Wheezing, this time I went for Flamethrower first, thinking, oh, it would go for the X attack, and this time it doesn't. Okay. All right. What is this, like 5th, 6th, Sean? What is this? I don't know. Oh my god, smokescreen. Okay, well, we're gonna try again. Holy mackerel. This is weirdly frustrating because I feel like this should have happened by now. I think the disables just put me in a really bad mood. Just what were the odds? Okay, so like I said, it's gonna be a 3 at KO. We even get a crit, so it's a 2 at KO. Okay. Oh, come on. All right, go for Dig. No. Toxic's fine. Dig. No. Actually, we didn't need it. Wait, why didn't I go for Flamethrower? Anyway, we win. Yay! I don't know what I was thinking there, but we win anyway. I guess, I mean, I know what I was thinking. If we missed, we lose. If we go for Dig, we hedge our bets. We're going to knock it out. We're not going to feint to poison damage. But unfortunately, we're not going to be able to make it back to the Pokemon Center, so I have to use my full restore, which... you can't get a full restore till later. It's not like the best thing. It's not a big deal. We won. It's good. Now we have Rival Fievel to deal with, and this is probably going to go a heck of a lot worse. Rival Fievel, as he always does, leads with Pidgeot. It takes 2 Flamethrowers to knock it out, but I'm already at half HP. Dig doesn't even one-shot Growlithe. Flamethrower does one-shot Execute, but then Alakazam, it disables Fire Spin, which is kind of a problem. Or not, because it knocks me out, so, you know, guess it wasn't a problem. Now, if you're wondering, well, why was it a problem? I'm not really sure what you're getting at here. Well, just watch for a second. Right now, we're going to knock out the first 2 Pokemon. We're at full HP this time, so that's really lucky. Alakazam, I go for Body Slam, and it went for Confusion. Of course it confuses me, but we get pretty good luck afterwards with a crit, paralysis, and knockout. Now here's the strat. Fire Spin. If I use Fire Spin, Blastoise can't move. It's so cheap, and we come very close to knocking it out. There's one minor, insignificant issue, if you will, but it's a little significant. You see, Fire Spin, unlike Wrap or Bind, which does the same thing, and I've already claimed in previous videos, is too inaccurate to be a good strat, and it's slow, by the way, but it's only 70%, unlike those which are upwards of 80-85%. So it's kind of really bad. But if we level up a little bit, there might be a way to make it less bad. All right, so here's the idea. We're at level 44, and you might have already seen what I plan on doing, but I'm gonna take a page right out of Erica's book. But even better, first we have to actually get to Blastoise, and Flamethrower actually does more to Alakazam than Body Slam. I even get a Fire Spin, which is great, but I go for Toxic, it hits me with Bubble, then we miss. But you can see what the idea is. Because technically each turn of Fire Spin is a different turn, Toxic will very quickly start to rack up in damage. This is a strat that many of you have asked me to do for a long time now. And the biggest reason, like with Moltres, I didn't want to do that is A, it's very slow, and B, it's insanely luck-based. 70% plus 85% for Toxic. Against Rival Fivel, where Blastoise just has Water Gun and Bubble, it can work. It doesn't in this battle, however. The biggest reason is I forgot to teach Toxic, so you can see I kind of paused for a second and then just went for Fire Spin. We got absurdly lucky. Had I used Toxic, we probably would have tanked a hit, and we would have won a lot more quickly, and it wouldn't have required like 70. What are the odds? Like 3% of what just happened? The point being, that was absurd, but I'll take it. And I know what some of you are going to say, well, in other videos, you'd reset. No, in other videos, I'd reset when we got like a first try victory, and I wanted to show more of what the battle was so that you guys understood. I think I sufficiently showed what the battle was. Truth is, Flamethrower does more to every enemy than Body Slam, so having Body Slam doesn't really help. I don't know if I knew that yet. We'll see what happens versus Sabrina. For now, Giovanni won, which wouldn't help super much because two of his Pokemon are Poison type. He leads with a Poison type, Nidorino, and this is a battle where those extra levels make a huge difference. We one-shot Nidorino, nearly one-shot Kangaskhan, two-shot Rhyhorn, and then Nidoqueen is going to be a two-shot, would have been a three-shot if we didn't get a critical hit. Actually, might have been a two, no, would have been a, no. The reason I'm hesitating is critical hits work very weirdly in Gen 1, and they're based on your level. So I'm not doing exactly 2 times, it's a little less than that, so maybe with the positive range, we could have two-shot, but who cares? We did, we won. Now we get to choose between Blaine, the Fire-type gym leader, and Sabrina, the Psychic-type gym leader. I opted for Blaine, but not exactly for the reasons you might think, or maybe for the reasons you might think. I can't read your mind. Also, there's like a lot of you. There's like 100 or more thousand of you. That's crazy. Anyway, the point is, I'm doing this because I get to level up in Blaine's gym, but the other big benefit of battling Blaine first, actually we gotta beat him, but once we do, you'll see what happens. I'm not quite at full HP. Dig does one-shot Growlithe and Ponyta. Rapidash we outspeed, but it doesn't one-shot. Growl is very annoying, and I've leveled up against all the trainers, so I may actually lose here. Yeah, that's unfortunate, but that's easily fixable. Had I used an Ether on Dig, I probably, even with the Growl, would have knocked out Arcanine. I wanted to see if we could do it without it. This is one of the rare instances where Body Slam is actually kind of helpful. Of course, Rapidash doesn't help by going for 2 Super Potions, so I have 0 for Arcanine, but I get a Paralysis. You can see how much Takedown's doing, but then I go for Fire Spin, which is kind of ridiculous to go against a fire Pokemon, but then I just get truly absurd luck and lose. You actually thought I was going to win there? No. Now we need to go back to the Pokemon Center. It's annoying, but the HP, the power points, I do like to save Ethers because just in case the Elite Four is a complete slog, extra Ethers and Elixirs help out immensely. But now that I'm back at full HP with all my power points, this should be a now first try victory. Oh, Dig's a range. Neat. Oh, that Leer actually will help because it'll boost my attack. Gen 1 statements. Oh, wait, I leveled up. It won't. More Gen 1 statements. Oh, that Tail Whip will help. But if I do get hit by a takedown, it'll one-shot. Roar is good. And, oh, Well, unfortunately, that counts as a loss. I do have other Pokemon, so technically I would win, but if I didn't, it would count as a loss, so that's a little annoying. But we one-shot Growlithe, we one-shot Ponyta, we level up. Now Tail Whip would be much better than Growl. Stomp is fine. We should tank a takedown. Dig, it's going to be a 3-shot, but with takedown, it could be a 2. Ah, man. This is just not going well for me. But on my next attempt, I do get a win, but you may notice something a little different about the Vulpix here. No, it didn't get a haircut. Its hair still looks ridiculous in this version, but you'll notice it may be at a bit of a higher level. I decided to do the Fighting Dojo just because I hadn't yet, and if this fight is as hard as it's being, I'm a little nervous about Sabrina and Giovanni, so might as well. We have Fire Blast. It does have really good accuracy at 85%, but Flamethrower is 100. Still, if we have to pivot to Fire Blast, it is the best super good attack or super strong attack, whatever you want to call it. It's the best that is available. Well, at least in modern Pokemon. Back in this Pokemon, Blizzard is the best because it's 90% accurate. Poor Thunder, 70%, so useless and out of the way. Anyway, Sabrina, I talked so much. Now we're going to go for Body Slam. It goes for Psychic. I probably should have gone for Dig. Body Slam is a one-turn attack, but you can see Flamethrower is just better. We one-shot Venomoth, and then Alakazam, I opt for Body Slam to try and get the paralysis. It doesn't quite happen, and it knocks me out. I'd find out after this battle that I had this all wrong. I should have been going for Flamethrower the whole time. I overestimated the special of Alakazam, and frankly, if I had just done what I should have done, this fight would have gone a lot smoother and probably would have been a first try victory. But I didn't know that quite yet. I assumed, well, its defense is so weak, I should go for Body Slam. But here is where I figure out, actually, if you go on the Twitch VOD, you can even see my eyebrows raise, and I'm like, oh, I should have been using Flamethrower the whole time. You know, doing damage calculations in your head is hard, and I could just use a damage calculator and map out the whole run. I don't think that's so fun. I see a lot of Nuzlockers do that, and that's fine. A lot of you ask me how I've been able to keep the series up for years, and this is now the 90th of specifically Red and Blue. The honest answer is by not doing damage calcs and being surprised. Surprise is kind of fun, novelty is fun, and things still surprise me. And trust me, more will surprise me later, but maybe not in the greatest way. Foreshadowing. Anywho, let's go and battle Giovanni, and unsurprisingly, he's not too bad, but also not as easy as we're used to, because we really don't have any great attacks for any of his Pokemon. For the record, this run is now 2 Mewtwo's long. I love measuring things like that. I'm so glad I did that run. Rhyhorn's a 2-shot, and we actually outspeed Dugtrio. That is why stat experience is so huge. Could you imagine a game where that didn't exist? Man, that game would suck. But anyway, I'm sure that's not relevant to a future video. I knock out Rhydon in 3 hits, and we first try victory Giovanni. That might be, other than Bruno, maybe Agatha, the last first try victory we will probably have in this run. Because, oh my gosh, is everything coming up going to be difficult? We have a harder version of the rival Fievel fight, because this time Blastoise has Hydro Pump. And then we have Agatha, Lance, and the champion, which is a harder version of this fight. So I don't mess around and teach Toxic right away, because I know that's going to have to be the strat. Pidgeot is a 2-shot. That's good. Rhyhorn, I go for Toxic and then try Fire Spin strats just to see how long it takes to get a knockout. And one Fire Spin, if we get good enough luck, can in fact lead to a knockout, which is exactly what I wanted to see. Now, I decide, oh, well, didn't matter what I decided because Alakazam can just crit you. And I have to decide here whether I want to go for the rare candies or whether I want to level up, or whether I just try again and again. One of the easiest ways to make this decision is to just use the rare candies and see if you win, because if you don't, well then you might need to level up a lot. So I go for, again, Toxic Fire Spin, thinking that it's just a good way to showcase the strat, and frankly, just to see how many I hit. Not that it has any bearing, that's like the fallacy there. Anyway, against Alakazam, I just go for Flamethrower. It's now going to be a 2-hit KO, and I'm at 84 HP. That's not enough. If Hydro Pump hits, it knocks me out. However, Hydro Pump only has around a 40% chance or so, I think that's what it is, of actually landing. Why? Because Blastoise also has Withdraw and has no way to determine what is better between Withdraw and Hydro Pump. In later generations, it would know which move would knock me out and would always go for it. But in this game, that's not how it works. You can also see, by the way, that Rhyhorn, the quicker strat, is just to use Flamethrower. Execute, we knock out in one hit, and now Alakazam is a huge turning point. Unfortunately, again, it damages me. I go for Toxic, hoping for Withdraw, but I don't get it. At this point, I'm waiting for a Hydro Pump miss, which is a 20% chance if it selects it, or I'm waiting for Withdraw. Everything else is pretty much set in stone. Sure, Rhyhorn can hit me with an attack, but that's about the only RNG until Alakazam. Alakazam's a big moment, because if it goes for Recover, which it did, it doesn't matter what Blastoise does. Of course, it goes for Withdraw. Now we just have to hit with enough Fire Spins. We only get 2 turns, and I decide to go for Dig, and you can see I got lucky with Withdraw. Had we hit with 3 turns, Dig, because we have an invulnerable turn underground, combos perfectly with our Fire Spin Toxic strats. We don't even need crazy good luck with Fire Spin. We could have even missed the first one. This strat will work at the acceptable 20% victory rate. In fact, post rare candies, we won on our 4th attempt, so it's 1 in 4. Keep in mind, the champion is at the end of the Elite Four gauntlet, meaning 20% is still tedious as heck because we have to keep making it back to the champion. And whether we can make it to the champion is a massive, massive question. But rather than speculate, let's just provide the answer. Lorelei is supposed to be an ice-type trainer, but for our purposes, she's basically a second Misty. Thankfully, Dugong doesn't have any water moves in Red and Blue version, so it's pretty good. Cloyster does, but doesn't use it. That's really good. Now for Slowbro, I have to rely on Toxic Fire Spin. It's actually the fastest strat. And then Dig. Unfortunately, I time it poorly, so I hit the Jinx. Didn't want to do that because Flamethrower would have knocked it out. And this means, yeah, Lapras is just going to go for Hydro Pump. So I see a pathway to victory. We got a little bit unlucky with the timing, but you can see how much Toxic stacks and why it's such a good pair for Flamethrower. Even better than Erica, who uses Poison Powder. We get a nice crit against Cloyster in our 2nd attempt, and once again, we go for Fire Spin Toxic. Here's where you can see Fire Spin starting to miss, but not that much. We one-shot Jinx, but here is the test. It's not going to be a 2-shot, and although well, if we get a critical hit, it will be a 2-shot, but it wouldn't otherwise. We are probably going to have to level up. I may even just take this experience points now. Bruno is going to be easy. Although these Pokemon in later generations have very high special defense, they don't in this one, and I always forget about that. But that means Flamethrower is actually really good. But speaking of stuff that's really good, while against Alakazam, it's smarter to go for Flamethrower, against Erica, base 100 super effective Dig, even with 35 base power, makes sense. Of course, I have to actually go for it, but I did want to know how much Flamethrower did, and once I saw that, because hey, I didn't want to get burned twice, I then go for Dig against Haunter, and realize, oh, okay, so it wasn't the base power, it was, but with it being super effective, it actually does similar amounts of damage, but Dig does just a little bit more, so it's worthwhile because we did not want Gengar to be a 3 KO. But none of this matters. Everything now, irrelevant. Because the entire run is right here. Right now is why fire Pokemon struggle so much in red and blue. Toxic, we get a miss. Oh my god. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Am I going to first try victory? I even go for Dig. It's not going to do any damage. No, not Hyper Potion. I need another Fire Spin, I think. Okay, we get it. Am I going to first try victory the Elite Four? Flamethrower is going to be a 3 KO, and oh, well, more now. You know, I'll go for... Actually, we're starting to lose a lot of health. Oh my... Are we going to lose to a Dragonair? No. No. But I beat Gyarados. Oh. That's bad. I figured Gyarados would be like the ultimate obstacle. And now I've wasted too much time on the screen and I have to reset, but... Oh, that's awful. Because in my head, if we got past Gyarados, everything else would kind of fall into place, but we didn't even make it to Aerodactyl, who also resists our moves. Dragonite does too. We have to level up. And we also got crazy good luck against Gyarados too. I have a bad feeling. I battled the Elite Four again after leveling up to level 71. Well, actually level 70. But that's not important right now. What's important is we survive a Hydro Pump and we use Fire Spin and hit twice. So we need Fire Spin to last for about 4 turns. Now Dragonair will be a 2-shot, but it doesn't matter. Because if we're hit by Hydro Pump, 1 hit from a Dragonair knocks us out. That's really bad. I try again just to see what would happen if we got a miss. You know, it already happened once. We get a miss. And then Fire Spin actually hits and lasts for 4 turns. So I go for Dig, and the timing again is bad, but it does enough damage. Oh my god, are we gonna win? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Oh, so Dig does more than Flamethrower, or they do about the same? We have 55 HP for Aerodactyl. It outspeeds, and it looks like Flamethrower... Oh, come on! What an inopportune crit. I mean, I can't be too mad. We got a 20% Hydro Pump miss. And unlike with Blastoise, that's the only move Gyarados is going to go for. There's no other move it can go for. I'm going to level up more. I'm going to have to do it. Alright, now I'm at level 74 and I wanted to see how much Fire Blast would do. The answer is not enough. I was hoping somehow it would be a 2-shot. It's not. I didn't save, so we still have Flamethrower, don't worry. I also saw that Hydro Pump is pretty much doing the exact same damage, so we need to level up more, I guess? Oh yeah, a good time to point out that in my attempting to see what level I need to level up to, I lost to Agatha for the first time. So, that's possible. Very fun. And it's at this point where the losses metric that Sean has been adding, which is really great by the way, are going to become a little bit deceptive. Well, maybe not actually. In fact, they may in fact be as accurate as ever. Because for the first time in many, many runs, I'm going to use the Elite Four themselves to level up. I guess at the end of the day, I'm not trying to lose, I'm hoping to win. I'm just not going to be using elixirs, which might make some battles a little more tricky. Elixirs, since I can't get them back, if I use them, they're gone. So I need to only use them if it's an attempt I really want to not reset through. And since I can tell we're nowhere close to winning, I think we might end up losing to Lance 10, 20 times to get the sufficient levels. And I guess this is a good time to talk about a couple things. Number 1, J-Rose, why are you just leveling up, man? Where are your strategies? Dude, have you seen Vulpix's moveset? What strategies? I mean, I guess I could have kept Confuse Ray and gone for 50-50s, maybe that would have helped versus Gyarados, but like, I don't know. It's not super likely. I actually think the Toxic Fire Spin strat is more versatile, as evidenced versus the Slowbro in Lorelei, and quicker, honestly, because unlike Confuse Ray, which just stops it from attacking, this does some significant damage. The other question I know I'm going to get asked, and I will answer it, is what would have happened if you kept Body Slam? Surely that would be the play, J-Rose. Hold that thought. We're going to battle Lance again, and we've leveled up a little bit. We're level 85 now, and at level 85, Hydro Pump now doesn't do as much. Shocking, I know. We can then weaken it enough and go for Flamethrower, knock it out, and then I go for Dig, which does more than Flamethrower, and it two-shots Dragonair, and it doesn't hit me. Flamethrower does still good damage. Now we're at 67, trying to conserve power points here, and we're at 51 for Dragonite. Now Dragonite, I didn't want to see Hyper Beam, but we'd have to go for Toxic Fire Spin strats as well. Again, showing versatility over Confuse Ray, but J-Rose, Body Slam, man, not Toxic. You overthought it. Well, what would have happened if I did have Body Slam at level 89? The answer? Nothing. It's not any easier, even if I get a paralysis. It makes no difference. It's not a two-shot. It's worse. At least with Toxic Fire Spin, there's a much better chance of getting away with 0 damage. Here, the odds of coming away with 0 damage is negligible. Double Edge would have been a two-shot at this level, but then I take back recoil damage, which makes it bad. And if you're wondering, how in the world did you get Body Slam back? I have a cartridge reader, and I just used a cheating device to put it back. I've never done this for one of my videos before, but I knew if I didn't show what Body Slam was doing, people would assume that I wasted all this time. I mean, we're at a super high level, so I can understand why people are shocked by it. But fire Pokemon are just really, really bad. In later Pokemon games, Sunny Day Solar Beam helps. Certain abilities will help. Fire Pokemon got more options, but in Gen 1, there's nothing. A good water Pokemon is just Kryptonite. And Gyarados is a very good Gen 1 water Pokemon, despite the fact its attack is better than its special. But eventually, even the mighty Titan Gyarados will fall. You can see no Elixir here. I didn't think this would be a victory, but we tank the Hydro Pump, Toxic Fire Spin. I go for Flamethrower, you can see how much it's doing, and then Dig. Dragonair 2, I go for Flamethrower hoping for a burn, and even with an agility, we outspeed, and then Dig crits. But Aerodactyl has been tough. Flamethrower, Supersonic Miss, and now we hit Toxic, Barrier, no Hyper Beam. We even get a crit with Fire Spin, meaning it does a critical hit on every single attack. Lance tries to heal, and I go for Dig, and the Toxic knocks it out. It has taken me 3 real-life hours to get to the champion. I believe this is the most, other than Abra, I have ever played one of these solo runs to the champion. But now we have to beat the champion, and that's not going to be easy. So, like, are we going to have to spend another 2 hours? Probably not, 'cause we're almost level 100. But, oh god, not looking forward to this. Pidgeot, we are almost 30 levels higher, so Flamethrower one-shots. Alakazam, Flamethrower doesn't one-shot, but it goes for Recover, and this is massive. I maybe we'll win. Toxic, and you know what? Tail Whip's going to help us. I go for Fire Spin, just to kind of test it out. You know what? It's a dress rehearsal for what you're going to do versus Blastoise. I go for Dig versus Arcanine, almost a one-shot. That's pretty good. And then it is a one-shot, so it was a range. Executor isn't, one-shot, and now all comes down to this. We're at level 90. Toxic. Hydro Pump hits. It's not even a two-shot. We miss. Withdraw. We hit. 1, 2, 3, win. First try victory versus the champion. It's over, guys. But this was a long run, both in terms of real time, in terms of level, and in terms of in-game time. There's no sugarcoating it. Vulpix sucked. It was terrible at Generation 1. Now, its time isn't that bad. There are a few Pokemon that took longer, and part of that is getting a fire move early, and frankly, Brock. Vulpix didn't struggle nearly as much versus Brock as other Pokemon within the tier it's going to be in. But oh my god, did it struggle versus the Elite Four. There is no Pokemon, not a single one, that was at a higher level than Vulpix. The only one close is the pitiful Pidgey, and that one took forever. Even the weak Zubat wasn't nearly as high a level as Vulpix was. No badge boost glitch, limited moveset, fire type. It is going to be right now the 3rd worst Pokemon, and it may stay there, I'm not sure. Of course, that is a little unfair. There's 2 Pokemon that didn't finish, so in that sense, it's the 5th worst, but you get what I mean. Of Pokemon that can actually finish the game, at least within a human lifetime, unlike Weedle, it's pretty bad. I wonder how Growlithe will do. Let's do this again. That'll be the next solo run. So if you want to see another fire Pokemon, stay tuned. But in the meantime, thank you guys for watching, and I'm going to be back soon with another new video. Take care.